So please come to order. We'd all please stand. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Nash.
Almighty God, we ask for your blessing upon the members of this council as we assemble here in this chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our city. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will instill respect, compassion, and thoughtfulness in all of our deliberations. Give us the strength and wisdom to lead by example as the people's representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all our proceedings and keep us faithful to the trust placed in us by the citizens of our community. Amen.
Amen. Alderman Wilson, please lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, I ask for a motion for the adoption of the minutes September 7th and 20th, 2021. Is there such a motion? Alderwoman Ella Miles, second by Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion to adopt the minutes? It's unanimous. Thank you. City Manager's report. Subbing this evening is Josh Parthier, our comptroller. The city manager was ill today and will not be with us.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be reading City Manager Salomon's report on his behalf. Meetings attended were state representatives and legislators, Southeastern Council of Governments, Conference of Municipalities, Connecticut Interlocal Risk Management Agency, Region 4 Emergency Support Plan, NCDC Board Meeting, NPU City Coordination Meeting, and Fire Chiefs. City Comptroller Josh Pothier, Treasurer Mike Waltieri, and I participated in a radio interview with Stu Breyer from WICH on September 29th. We gave an explanation of the pension obligation bonds that will be before the voters in November. Pat McLaughlin, Director of Public Works, was also on the Stu Breyer radio show in recognition of the National Roundabout Week. He answered questions and addressed concerns about the newly installed roundabout. He emphasized the three basic principles of a roundabout: slow down, always yield to anyone on the left, and stop for pedestrians. Signage and pavement markings should be completed the week of October 4th. In support of National Anti-Bullying Month, Norwich Youth and Family Services is offering a free scanning of the IndieFlix film Upstanders. The Upstanders is a film-based education program about resilience, attention, and the power of connection to end bullying. Information is available on NYFS and the city's Facebook page. The Recreation Department fall session has started with a record number of participants, and the Joe Larnadelli cross-country race for youth will be held on Sunday, October 10th in Mohegan Park. The fourth annual Trunk or Treat event will take place on Friday, October 22nd at the Rose City Senior Center. Participants in support of this community event. Information is available at www.norwichct.org/recreation. Absentee ballots are available in the city clerk's office for anyone who may need one. Please contact the clerk's office at 860-823-3732 as soon as possible for a timely delivery. The drop box to return ballots is located outside City Hall at 100 Broadway. The 31st annual Walktober has begun. The City of Norwich participates with the Last Green Valley National Heritage Corridor on this annual event. Norwich has over 30 walks and events scheduled, including a tour of City Hall, Uncas Leap, and numerous heritage sites and points of interest throughout the city. Thank you to the volunteers who make this event possible. The Walktober guide is available online at www.thelastgreenvalley.org. Mr. David Bishop, a steadfast volunteer, has recently completed a repainting of the welcome mural overlooking the Norwich Harbor. This was truly yeoman's effort, taking nearly 4 months to complete. If the city had contracted out this work, it would have been many thousands of dollars. Many thanks are in order for Mr. Bishop and his son John, who assisted him on many days.
Thank you very much, Josh. That completes City Manager's report. Normally, we'd ask for questions. Alderman Wilson?
Yes, and even though the city manager's not here, I think Josh probably can answer this question. When it comes to the pension obligation bonds, I know you guys were on the radio. What other outreach efforts are you planning to get the word out about the bond?
We're going to be reaching out to unions, and we're going to contact with the help of Chris Riley from Norwich Public Utilities, the local newspapers, and just going to ask for if any of the community organizations would like us to speak at any meetings that they have this month.
Okay. And the only reason I continue to bring that up is because it is a major piece of this upcoming elections ballot, and it has a huge implication for the city. And I want us to be putting out all possible ways to reach individuals. And I would love for you, the city manager, and even Mike to consider some Facebook Lives or Facebook chat conversations with individuals to broaden just the information being out there about the obligation bond. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other concerns at this time? Seeing none. Thank you very much, Josh.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I don't have a question, I just wanted to make a comment. The last 2 weeks, I've received like 3 or 4 emails from veterans. So if there's any veterans watching tonight, if you need the tax credit, you need to go to the tax assessment office downstairs at City Hall with your DD 214. So I was getting a few, and some of them were asking about how to do it, and some were saying they had a few other people. And I still sit here till November when I leave, and then I won't be the liaison anymore with veterans. I'm sure the council will choose a qualified candidate. But if any veterans out there trying to get the tax deduction for the city, you need to bring your DD 214 down to the tax assessment office, and then they will review it, and then you'll get the appropriate tax reductions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you for your service as well. Okay.
Citizen comments on resolutions.
At this time, I declare citizen comment and resolutions to be open and invite anyone who wants to speak to one of the 3 on the agenda this evening. Please identify yourself with the microphone with your name and address. The floor is yours. Okay, does anyone wish to speak to the council on citizen comment at this time? Anyone wish to speak at this time? Anyone wish to speak at this time? Seeing no one wishes to speak at this time, I then declare citizen comment to be closed. Thank you.
Number 1, relative to listing property with Signature Properties of New England at 16 Robbins Court.
This time I'd ask for a motion, please, to move this resolution forward. Alderman Nash, second by Alderman Gould. Is there discussion? Seeing no discussion, roll call.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 2, relative to authorizing City Manager John L. Salamone to execute and deliver an extension of a lease agreement with the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation pertaining to lease of state land on the west side of the Yannick River off West Thames Street, which is Connecticut Route 32, at the intersection of West Main Street, once again, Connecticut Route 82.
Motion, please, to bring this forward. Alderwoman Ella Miles, second. Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Alderman DeLucia.
I have a question. My question is, why do we need this piece of property?
Corporate counsel.
I think that the thought is with respect to prospective development at the police station, if it should ever occur, this land might be available for them. Other than that, I'm not sure that it's used for anything. It's basically grassland that comes down the hill. We've had it since 2006, that the city's been leasing it, and so why we, at least initially, I can't tell you, I don't know.
That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you, sir. President Pro Tem?
I mean, basically, we're just controlling the property for an administrative fee, so I would rather have control of the property than be locked out of it down the road for some other reason, personally.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Questions? Seeing none, roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies.
No, just a quick question. I mean, is there a reason why we continue to lease it instead of trying to own it from the state?
We're leasing it for practically nothing.
I don't think we've ever made an application to state to on it. It's a different process. This would require that if we're interested in entering into the lease, the DOT will draft the lease. They'll have it reviewed by the various state agencies up to the Attorney General, then there'll be a sign-off. So the lease itself is likely to take 2 to whatever months before it's executed, although the actual lease will expire at the end of this month. So it'll be retroactive to November 1st. I guess if we have it by lease, it may give us a reason to ask the state to convey it to us if we have a reason to own it. But other than that, I don't know that it's ever come up in that context.
All set? Thank you. Any further questions, concerns? Roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 3, relative to enter into an agreement with the Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection for facility upgrades to the Ockham Fire Department.
At this time, I'd ask for a motion to refer this to our Public Works Committee. Some questions have arisen, and this will give Public Works Committee time to search them out. The council meeting is that same day, that same evening, so it won't delay action more than just the normal space between 2 council meetings. And we'll continue this until that very night as well. That would be all in the motion. Alderwoman Gould, is there a second? Alderman Nash. Is there discussion on the motion to refer? Yes, Alderman DeLucia.
So I would say that if we're referring this to the Public Works Committee, and as you said, we'll take it up in their next agenda, which will be on the afternoon of our next council meeting. Whatever research needs to be done, the city manager needs to be directed to instruct the Public Works Director to do that research prior to the Public Works Committee so that the committee has all the pertinent information at its meeting and doesn't open it up for discussion. Otherwise, there will be a delay into next month because we very well may be asking questions that answers have not been found for, unless the research is done prior to the Public Works meeting.
Thank you. I think we all agree with that very much. Is there further discussion on the motion to refer? Yes, Alderman Wilson.
I think for me, just echoing the sentiment of Alderman DeLucia, making sure we have all the information so that we make a sound decision on it. The only other question I have is, I know it's referred to the Public Works. There is no need for it to be referred to public safety, just asking that as a question.
I think it could be safely referred to either one. It's just that there are buildings in Norwich besides the fire departments that are critical structures that are also in the same situation involving 100 and 500-year floodways. So it's a choice of committees, 2 firehouses, the Public Works garage, and I think at least 1 school are kind of in that situation.
Alderman Wilson?
No, that answers my question.
Okay, thank you. President Pro Tem.
Could you identify the issues? I know because I was talking to our Planning and Neighborhood Services Director about this today, and I thought I know one particular thing regarding the floodplain was settled, so.
Well, it may have been, but I was unaware that it was. The issues were raised in the morning with respect to a portion of the buildings in the 100-year floodway, which means
Right.
the city would be responsible to oversee it. The rest of it's in the 500-year floodway. And there were concerns about where the work was going to be done, particularly with respect to the bathroom. And I think that was the principal issue because we had, about 3 years ago, adopted a plan with SCOG about basically identifying those structures that are in a floodway that are city-owned and critical to the city, and over the next many years, trying to abate them of any flood hazard, and that's how this came about. In this particular case, the building is owned by the Occam Fire Department, portions of it, the parking area, is, I think, owned by the city, but the city will be the guarantor of the carrying out of the agreement, so that was the reason why we talked about postponing this. If it's been resolved, it's been resolved, but
Well, I will tell you, my conversation with Deanna Rhodes was regarding the value of the property in relation to the work that was being done. So where if they did more than half the value, then there would be the significant alterations need to be made to the building and harden it for the flood issues.
that was one of the issues. The other issue had to do with, was there a subterranean basement of any sort, and what role that would
That we
play.
didn't discuss, but I know we're okay on the value
Yeah,
portion
the
of
value
the
portion, I
issue.
think you are.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Further questions, concerns? Yes, Alderman DeLucia.
My other question is, at what point will the plan for this be shared with the rest of the council? That's, I mean, essentially, once we deal with the issues through Public Works, the question is then, should it not be referred to Public Safety? Because we're talking about part of the public safety complex, and I have yet to see any information shared with me as the chair of the Public Safety Committee as to what this $100,000 is going to pay for, what's the city's liability, what happens with cost overruns, because let's be honest, it's not like that's never happened before. I mean, at what point do we get some sort of a briefing on what exactly is the plan for this money?
Perhaps, with the council's indulgence, our chief is here from Occam. If you would prefer to have him speak directly to those plans. And certainly, as of tomorrow, we'll make every effort to ensure that all council members receive the same information that's being agreed to by the Public Works Department and the City Manager's Office, and that which is going to be going for your review on the Public Works meeting itself. We'll make sure that that's expedited in everyone's hands. But Chief Spaulding, if you'd like to please approach us at the microphone so it's part of the public record, please.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Chief.
I'll answer your questions the best I can. This process was started under the old chief, so I am kind of in the dark. And through Kathy Austin, she put in for the grant. We never applied for it. So, to my recollection, the renovations that need to be done are just more or less replacement of doors, flooring, resurfacing, and a few of the other items. I don't have the list in front of me right now.
There were some security issues too, as I recall.
Yeah,
Looking
we're
for
going to
that.
do the, that was in for the capital though.
Yeah,
So, which we still have to get 3 bids on that, so.
There's also railings for the handicap access for
Right, the
facilities.
bathroom, yep,
Yes.
right. Everything that's going to be done will be under contract. There will be no more of this, oh, I can do that. It will not happen. There's too much liability. So everything we do will be under a contract by a contractor.
So will there be a schedule of work and will this work be sent out to bid? Or, I mean, we'll have some idea of what the costs of the schedule of work is going to be prior to the start of work?
Right, we're going to get, see, the process that was going on is back in 2019, when I took over, this was in process that I didn't know about through the previous chief and Kathy Austin. And when I took over, I went through the part of the year and then COVID hit. And then back then, it was only for 80,000. So we went through COVID and Kathy told me in July that we had 100,000. So here we are. So now with the 100,000, we can do a little more than what we wanted, but it all depends because of the season right now. We may have to hold off until after January to do some of the work because you're going to need good weather to do it. So that's where I stand right now.
Okay. I think this will be my last question, Mr. Mayor. So we talk about, the mayor just mentioned railings that are part of some piece of ADA compliance.
Yes, under the past chief, he hired a contractor to remodel the downstairs bathroom next to the apparatus bay. The thing that wasn't completed, because they didn't think about it, I guess, were the railing on the side of the toilet and the handicap railing you pull down.
So
Those are the only 2 things that need to be done in there.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So you're talking about the grab rails in the bathroom to make the bathroom accessible. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about a project that would make your second floor ADA compliant?
No.
Because that would be a heck of a lot more than $100,000.
Yeah, no, we don't have it that way. There's no way it'll ever happen. I don't believe the building structure will take that type of ramp that you need. So,
I'm satisfied, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Alderman Nash.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have any questions, Chief. I just want to, and I don't mean to be a jerk, but I just want to caution the council. Oversiight's extremely important, obviously, when you're talking about a $100,000 grant from the state to upgrade a fire department. But just stay out of the way, because the last time we got in the way, it cost us an extra $125,000 because we were nitpicking on things, and then Taffill's budget overwent a considerable amount of money that was over the grant money that we had gotten. So oversight's extremely important. I totally get that, but I just kind of stay out of the way, let the man do his job. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Alderman Wilson.
I think the other part to caution is I don't think the oversight is what we're talking about. It's just making sure that everyone's kind of knows what's going on. I think that's the most important piece, just as the chief has said. That way, whoever's sitting here several months from now when this project is being done, there are no surprises as to cost overruns and realizing that certain work can't be done. So then we're scrambling to help them finish the project that they start. I don't think we want them to be in a boat where they got $100,000 and they've got a plan and things, he's already said certain things may have to wait. It costs a little more, and then we've got to figure out. This gives us time, going to the Public Works Committee as well, gives us time to plan and have an idea of what's needed, but also what resources are out there to help them complete the project. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming up here and explaining that a contractor's going to do the work, answering all the questions. We, of course, appreciate it, but I think for us all, I think it's just to make sure that we're on the same page that, yes, the grant's there, but the caution of liability and all those things. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and the money is there, and it's up to myself, John, and Josh to make sure every penny is accounted for and that we don't overrun. If there's a project that's going to overrun, we'll just cancel the project. That's plain and simple. So,
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
all right.
Thank you, Chief. I would just add that the purchasing agent will be heavily involved in this, as he is in every other contract like this. We'll have those protections as well. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, then
Alderman DeLucia?
This is on the motion to refer.
motion to refer. Yes, sir.
Yes?
Alderman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0 to refer.
Motion passes 7-0. If I could, just before asking for a motion to adjourn, and I should have done this at the beginning of the meeting, could we all please stand for a moment of silence for Alderwoman Gould's father, who was a really good guy who contributed greatly to this community for decades. And I think we should acknowledge that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
And without further ado, a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Gould, Nash, motion to adjourn. Roll call.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0. We are adjourned.